welcome to my YouTube channel. Before we continue, please hit the like and subscribe button and make sure you click the notification bell. If you have done that already, now hear this. That was very thoughtful of you, because you will never miss any of our latest videos. On our previous video, we discussed about 10 countries with zero or limited internet access. Basically, anyone in this country cannot browse and download free in those countries because of the availability and accessibility of internet in those countries. If you want to see the previous video, I will leave the link in the description box, in case you want to check it out. But in today's video we will be discussing top 5 reasons 4.6 billion people have zero access to internet. Stay tuned. According to the recent United Nations estimates conducted by Worldometer, the current world population is 7.9 billion as of May 2021. Expected to hit 10 billion by 2026. With China, 1.4 billion population, India, 1.3 billion population, United States, 331 million population, Indonesia, 273 million population, and finally Pakistan, 220 million population, taking the top 5 positions on the chart. In today's video, we shall highlight the top 5 reasons 4.6 billion people have zero access to internet. Number 1 reason, availability. The availability of the internet depends on the ability to access the internet through a number of different processes, which include wireless or satellite connections. Despite the various ways of obtaining an internet connection, coverage remains limited for many people, and this becomes a big problem. Although some of the mobile network connections have aided in closing the availability gap. According to statistics, 95% of the world's population does, in theory, have some access to a 2G network. But this technology will only cover basic data connectivity. At least 1.6 billion people have no access to 3G or 4G at all. The lack of better data access is largely based on economic accessibility. In order to create a more reliable network, providers would have to invest in new and better infrastructure. There are also significant costs in maintaining a rural mobile network infrastructure. In addition to being relatively low on income generating capacity, the populations of these regions show a fairly low demand for online services, partially because they don't see what the internet could do to enrich their lives. Sometimes, a remote connection site can cost twice, or even 3 times what it does in urban areas, where return on investment would also be greater due to more demand. Although, a new substitute and innovative solutions to these infrastructure challenges are on the increase. Traditionally, diesel generators were the primary source of electricity for mobile networks in areas where the grid was unavailable. In addition, the plummeting cost of solar equipments, down 75% since 2009, can help to offset this cost. The costly alternative of satellite technology is also being substituted for more creative solutions, including drones, high geostationary satellites, low and medium Earth orbit satellites. Number 2 reason, relevance. There is nothing new about internet in developed countries. Those in developed countries often think of the internet as a time killer, but that is not the same in developing nations. They fail to see the importance of getting online. In order to make the web relevant to them, it would need to prove useful and accessible. The most identifiable problem with internet relevance globally is language. Do you know that only 10 languages make up 89% of the internet, with 56% of it in English? Let us take a look at the most popular social media app, Facebook. Facebook is currently available in 139 languages, Google Translate in 103 languages, Wikipedia 55 languages. The reality is that there are over 7,000 languages spoken worldwide. It is estimated that to reach 98% of the world's population, the internet would need to accommodate 800 languages. This linguistic divide has been breached, in part, by the expansion of secondary languages. For example, Wikipedia's 55 languages, of 100,000 articles or more, makes up the mother tongue of about 58% of the world's population, just a little above half the languages spoken on Earth. If people's secondary language is taken into account, that access to knowledge is expanded to 67%. But asking populations to speak a second language can be very complicating and, at worst, offensive. A more collaborative and successful approach would be to drive content creation through the support of local language devices and software. This facilitation of content creation can lead to a new linguistic ecosystems on the internet. Let us take another example, this time around using a third world African country, Tanzania, where 98% of the population speaks Swahili. When Facebook introduced its platform in Swahili, the number of users in Tanzania increased significantly. Language is only one way to create and encourage relevance, importance in a system. When a population is offered content that relates to them directly in a language they understood, usage increases. The report points out that internet penetration in Myanmar was only 2% in 2012, but by 2015, coinciding with the highly covered elections, it has risen to 35%. Number 3 reason, affordability. Some people called it purchasing power, but I called it affordability. Income remains a key barrier for millions of people globally, denying them access to the internet. The price of data, along with the cost of owning a device and other accessories that comes with it, is part of what is keeping people offline. According to Facebook's report, which estimates that the cost of a 500 megabytes monthly data plan remains financially inaccessible for 2 billion people. Practically 500 MB is less than $3 in most countries. In developed nations, who consume almost 3 to 4 times as much. On average, 500 megabytes per monthly might seem insufficient. That would account for only 21 websites, or 15 minutes of video per day. Despite the difference in consumption between developing countries and developed countries, the cost of consumption is directly the opposite. This means that on average a person living in a developing country will spend just under 4% of their monthly income on internet expenses. But people living in developed countries will spend 2%, which is half that amount. Reasonable or affordable cost remains out of reach for billions of people. According to recent survey, Facebook estimates that around 500 million more people were able to access the internet in 2015 due to the rise in global income along with the falling prices of availability. What is the solution to this epileptic internet supply? Ever-improving technology and steady improvements in global income will help to continue this trend, but innovative business models can also help to accelerate this process. For example, in the Philippines, mobile data is packaged in a way to accommodate the realities of daily life for the poor. By allowing those with near poverty levels of income an alternative to traditional business models. This is working, as more people are gaining access at a price they can afford. Number 4, illiteracy levels. High poverty rates comes with increase in illiteracy levels. The ability to read and write has a great impact on communication. Although millions of people globally cannot read or write, this has a great impact on the social community. Because of the need for internet and its demand, most of the people affected with illiteracy have zero or little need for internet. The world's literacy rate, for example, will continue to hold back populations in India, Africa and the Middle East, regardless of their ability to access the internet. In 2019, according to statistics, the illiteracy rate among adults aged 15 years and older was 34.8% in sub-Saharan Africa. In South Asia, the illiteracy rate was 27.5%. While there is no concrete way to link existing data with internet literacy, some obvious challenges do exist. Number 5, readiness. It should be noted that it is only a matter of time, all these challenges will be overcome. We could one day see the internet available to virtually everyone in the world. But when that happens, will they be ready for it? The challenge is to ensure that people have the skills, understanding and cultural, social acceptance of the internet. Although there is also a sobering gender gap that exists online. For example, in developing countries, the differences between male and female internet users can be surprising. In some Asian countries like Indonesia, Bangladesh and India, women between 60 and 70% are less likely to use the internet, while in sub-Saharan Africa the gender gap can range from 45 to 70%. The good news is that numerous initiatives are, however, already underway to combat these inequalities. In some cases, finding a solution to common poverty problems and digital readiness go hand in hand. Another example is Papua New Guinea, a small country in the southwestern Pacific. In Papua New Guinea, 35% of the population are illiterate. The government kick-started a project called SMS Story. The project SMS Story intends to change the mind and educate the greater illiteracy population by not only teaching people how to read, but by doing so with text messages. In Pakistan, there are currently over 120 Ethernet villages training over 4,000 girls' computer skills. That project is to be expanded to reach as many as 30,000 girls in the near future. Majority of the already listed countries are taking such positive steps. As we gradually progress to the near future, I cannot say that the goals of every stakeholders are not unrealistic, but they do require continuous action put in place by the majority part of these stakeholders. If so many challenges are to be met in the next few years, it will require the efforts of private industry, governments, non-profits and citizen-led initiatives to achieve a common goal. Through the sharing, application and review of best practices, it is possible to imagine a truly connected world. This video serves its purpose to educate our viewers. We hope to see more people being connected to the internet in the future. It is only a matter of time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, support us by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell for our newest and latest videos. See you on our next video.